One of the different things you do is you don't use a phone, except occasionally to test Telegram features. But I've been with you for 2 weeks. I haven't seen you use a phone at all in the way that most people use a phone, like for their social media. So can you describe your philosophy behind that?
I don't think a phone is a necessary device. I remember growing up, I didn't have a mobile phone. When I was a student at the university, I didn't have a mobile phone. When I finally got it to use a mobile phone, I never used phone calls. I was always in airplane mode or mute. I hated the idea of being disturbed. My philosophy here is pretty simple. I want to define what is important in my life. I don't want other people or companies, all kinds of organizations telling me what is important today, and what I should be thinking about. Just set up your own agenda, and the phone gets in your way.
It provides distractions. It guides what you should be looking at, what you will be looking at. So you don't want that. You want to quiet the mind. You want to choose what kind of stuff you let inside your mind.
Yes, because this way I can contribute to the progress of society, or at least I like to think this way, and this makes me happier.
How often do you find quiet time to just think and focus deeply on work without any distractions? You mentioned to me that you value quiet mornings.
Yes. So the thing I'm trying to do, I try to allocate as much time as possible for sleep. Now, even if I allocate, say, 11 or 12 hours for sleep, I won't sleep for 11 or 12 hours. So what I end up doing is I end up lying in bed thinking. And some people hate it. They say, "Oh, you have to take a sleeping pill," but I never take pills. I love these moments. I get so many brilliant ideas, or at least they seem brilliant to me at the moment, while I'm lying in bed, either late in the evening or early in the morning. That's my favorite time of the day. Sometimes I wake up, I go take a shower, still without a phone. Beautiful ideas can come to you while you're doing your morning exercise, your morning routine, without a phone. If you open your phone first thing in the morning, what you end up being is a creature that is told what to think about for the rest of the day. Same is true in a way if you've been consuming news from social media late at night. But then how do you define what is important and what you really want to become in life? Now, I'm not saying you have to completely stay away from all sources of information, but take some time to think about what's really important for you and what you want to change in this world.
So you definitely try to avoid digital devices for as many hours as possible in the morning, just to have the quiet thinking time, plus the crazy amounts of push-ups and
I know,
squats.
I know it's kind of counterintuitive because I founded one of the largest social networks in the world, after which I founded the second largest messaging app in the world. And you're supposed to be really connected. But the conclusion you reach very early is that the more connected and accessible you are, the less productive you are. And then how can you run this thing if you're constantly bombarded by all kinds of information, most of which is irrelevant to the success of what you're trying to build? You know, the entire world can be fascinated by a fight, a quarrel between the world's richest man and the world's most powerful man. But for the vast majority of these people following this saga, it's irrelevant. It won't change their lives. And in any case, they can't affect it. So it's a bit pointless. Of course, there are people who are engaged in activities that require them to be up to date of everything that's going on. But 99% of people aren't.
Yeah, The internet, social media presents to us drama in such a way that we think it's the biggest thing in the world, the most important thing on which the tides of history will turn. But in reality, most things will not turn the tides of history. And so I guess our challenge is to figure out what is the timeless thing. What is the thing that's happening today that's still going to be true in 10, 20 years? And from that, decide what you're going to do. And that's very difficult on social media because everybody's outraged. The news of the day, whatever the quarrel is, that's the thing that's everyone thinks the world will end because of this thing. And then another thing happens the next day.
And they're trying to influence your emotions.
Yeah.
And that's how you get into trouble, because you can be forced to make conclusions that are not in your best interest.